Let's talk about office mean girls, who they are, what they do, and how you cope with them. You probably thought mean girls only existed in high school, right? Now think again. They grew up, got jobs, and traded lockers for cubicles. In today's show, we'll talk about the office mean girls, who they are, what they do, why they act this way, the damage they cause, and most importantly, how you can protect yourself and cope when you're in their line of fire. And stay tuned because I'm going to share a case I worked on with the ultimate mean girl, and it's proof that they always get what's coming in the end. So let's talk about office mean girls. Who are these people? They come in many forms. Some are loud, the gossipers, the ones whispering as you walk by. Others are quiet, the smiling assassins who act friendly to your face but undermine you the moment you turn around. They're not always your peers. Sometimes they're in management. Sometimes they're even in HR. Sometimes they're the so-called popular employee who controls the social scene. But the common thread? Insecurity. They can't stand someone else shining, so they tear others down to feel taller. And the workplace, unfortunately, often rewards them because they create cliques and hold influence. What do? Well, mean girls in the office thrive on control and exclusion. Here's what they do. They gossip constantly, spreading rumors to isolate people. They exclude others from lunch, after-work outings, or even important meetings. They play favorites, promoting friends while overlooking talent. They undermine good employees with sarcasm or backhanded comments. They sabotage. They withhold information, mess up your assignments, even take credit for your work. Now, I've seen all of this firsthand in my cases, and I want to share one story that really shows you how bad it can get. It's the story of the ultimate mean girl. And man, she was something. She's a piece of work. But before I tell it, let's look at why they act this way. Why do they do it? Well, most of the time, mean girl behavior comes down to insecurity and fear. Really that simple. They feel threatened by other women who are younger, smarter, or simply confident. Sometimes it's competition. Workplaces do tend to pit people against each other. And instead of lifting each other up, mean girls tear each other down. They do it to survive in their mind. And sometimes it's leadership failure. When management is weak, mean girls rise up and run the show. Now, let me tell you about a case that brought all of this together. What I call the ultimate mean girl story. Now, my client worked in a factory dominated by men. She dealt with constant sexual harassment, crude jokes, comments about women. They were just out of control. The kind of thing no one should have to put up with. And eventually, she got to a place where she just couldn't take it anymore. And, she finally got up the nerve to make a complaint. And what did the company do? Well, you probably guessed it. They retaliated. So that's when she hired me. So as I got involved and started investigating the case, started interviewing witnesses, I discovered something so shocking. The female supervisor that my client reported to, her boss, her own boss, was the ultimate mean girl. This woman had actually taken her secretary's husband. And the husband worked at the factory too. Imagine showing up to work every day, knowing your boss stole your husband, and watching them carry on like it was perfectly normal. It was like made for TV stuff. So of course my client couldn't expect help. She worked for a woman who had no boundaries, no morals, no shame, and all the power in the company. It was a mess. Personal and professional drama rolled into one, and my client was caught right in the middle. She had no hope. The case took a lot of twists and turns, but in the end, my client prevailed, just like I knew she would. And she kept asking me throughout the case, why does this company keep this woman? The more information that came out about her, the more my client was perplexed. It's like, this woman is still working there. What's the deal with it? I don't understand. And I told her, you know, the truth is companies typically don't fire people in the middle of litigation. Because if they do, they end up looking guilty. They keep them around until the case is over. I mean, can you imagine you sue a company and you allege that they've done all these bad things, and as a response to your allegations, they fire the person who you claim to be the bad actor? That's like admitting everything that what you're saying is true. So, I see this all the time. It's very common for them to appear to support the person who did all these bad things. And it's very hard for clients to wrap their minds around that. And, even when I tell them that's why they do it, it still is very difficult. So, this case was, typical in that they kept this really awful woman on because, the other thing is, if they threatened to fire this woman or made her feel in any way like her job was in jeopardy, now this woman, you think about it, these mean girls, especially in that type of position, they know where all the bodies are buried. They know all the information. And so if this company did anything to make her feel cornered, any way threatened, then not only would she not help them with the case that we filed against the company, but she'd also tell a whole lot of other things. So they have to, keep up the pretense of being friends. She's still in control. Everything's okay. So anyway, that is very typical. And that's what happened in this case. But in the end, the moment the litigation ended, that mean girl was fired, just like I promised. I mean, it's very typical. I knew it was coming, and sure enough, it did. And stories like this show the real damage that these mean girls can cause. To individuals, it's a lot of stress, anxiety, and burnout, even dread about going to work. To teams, it's destroyed trust, it's constant drama, and low team morale. To companies, it's high turnover, lost talent, and sometimes lawsuits. What do you expect? If you don't control this behavior, lawsuits always follow. The ultimate mean girl I told you about, she didn't just hurt my client. She poisoned the entire workplace. And you know who paid the price? At least the monetary price, the company paid. I was very happy to have my client compensated for all the drama, all the heartache that she went through dealing with this mean girl and the company that refused to control her. So how do you cope or respond to mean girls at work? I mean, you have to protect your peace. So don't give them the reaction they're looking for. That's how they operate. They intentionally poke you to try to get a reaction. That is what keeps them going. So you really have to do your best to not react to them, to not give them the reaction they're looking for. And then you have to set boundaries. Keep the interactions professional and minimal. The less you deal with them, the better. And then you also need to document everything. If it escalates to harassment or retaliation, your notes matter. And this was certainly the case for my client. It continued to get out of control. What started out as a complaint for sexual harassment, which was taken to the mean girl boss who did nothing about it, ultimately ended up in my office, and the company ultimately ended up paying. So document everything. And then you have to find allies. Try not to fight alone. Co-workers, mentors, or legal counsel can make a difference. And sometimes you just have to recognize when it's just too much, when it might be time to exit. I am a big proponent of not just walking out on a job. It makes winning your case so much more difficult. Always, always, always take a minute to speak with a lawyer before quitting, because you lose so much leverage when you leave a job. People talk about constructive discharge. Let me tell you something. Lawsuits are difficult enough to win just if you're outright fired. But if you quit, the difficulty is multiplied by at least 3 times, maybe more, because the standard then becomes no reasonable person would have remained under the circumstances. That's what you'll have to show. And how subjective is that? So it's never a good thing to quit. Speak with a lawyer, and the lawyer can perhaps negotiate some type of severance for you, something. But you will tie the hands of any lawyer if you make the ultimate decision before getting them involved. If you walk out on the job, then it's not termination. So the idea that you were subjected to a wrongful termination, there's been no termination. So don't quit, not without a plan. Speak with an attorney first. But yeah, I mean, your mental health is more important than anything. But again, just a simple call to a lawyer first makes all the difference. And always remember, their behavior is about them. These mean girls, it's not about you, not at all. They're projecting insecurity, not exposing weakness. So here's what I want you to take away. Office mean girls aren't proof of your weakness. They're proof of your strength. Really, if you think about it, you're strong enough to trigger their insecurities. You're taking up a lot of free rent in their head. So think about it that way. So what do you do if you're stuck with a mean girl at work? Again, protect your peace by not giving them the reaction they're looking for. Set boundaries, document everything, find allies, and know when to exit if that is what you are going to have to do. If you're dealing with one right now, remember my client's story. I'm going to tell you something. Every mean girl eventually gets what's hers. That's always. Stay the course. Don't give up. They will get what's coming to them eventually. Hang in there. I'll see you next shift.